This is an introduction to using algorithms to increase the authenticity of an assessment when using the Examview program. We're aware that there are several kinds of assessments that we can do as instructors. There's the diagnostic that we generally give before students tackle a problem. Formative, that are more for instructional purposes than for assessment purposes or grading. The summative, which is often used for grading. There are norm-referenced assessments, criterion-referenced assessments, and of course benchmarks, which are used to track student progress through a semester or a year, and end-of-course exams or assessments that are frequently used for final grading. For daily classroom instruction, there are two predominant categories, the formative and the summative. It's important that these be authentically assessed, that they actually exhibit the student's skills, not someone else's. We also know that answers tend to leak between students. In most cases, students are being tested on the same day on the same topics in different class periods. Rarely can you put all the students in the same room and assess them at the same time. Sometimes, as in semester assessment, students may be tested over multiple days, some cases even 4 or 6 days. Therefore, the risk of answers leaking between students who test early and those who test late is high, and the traditional solution is to have multiple forms of the test that you give to the different classes. The multiple form solution has its advantages. Most test generation programs, like Examview, offer easy ways to create multiple forms using the same questions. Examview, as with others, will allow you to scramble questions and even sections. And so, for instance, you see here question 1 on versions A, B, and C. Question 1 is different for each of these forms. In the program, to achieve multiple forms with random question ordering, you just make that election when you call up the print routine, as you see here with the print test pop-up screen. You click on Scramble Questions, and your questions will be moved around. You can also scramble the answer choices on the multiple choice items. So for the same assessment question, A, B, C, and D are different on the different forms. So when you print, you can either scramble questions or scramble answer choices, or both. Now, if the program does not randomize to your liking, and some teachers find that the randomizing is not particularly useful as you just print the test one after another, you can always click on the question option in the main menu and scramble the items or answers, and then save each file as version A, B, C, or X, Y, or Z. Save each file for later printing. You can see that scramble option from the question menu. And I recommend this so that you have an electronic version for later reference in case someone has a question about the test. Weaknesses of the multiple form method. Well, the questions are the same. You just reposition the question in the test, perhaps with answers in different positions, so that if you have a capable student motivated by friendship or some promised reward, if that student takes the test early, there may be an incentive to pass on both the type of question and the answer to a later tester. Not just A, B, C, or D, question 6, but actually here's the question and here's the answer. Now, this kind of leakage would not be plugged by simply moving the question or reordering the answer. Something else is needed. To solve the problem, create different tests. Traditionally, teachers will create totally different tests to reduce the leakage of questions and answers. The problem there, of course, is it doubles or triples the test creation time depending on how many types of forms you need. And if the test questions are too different from each other, the testing experience is not uniform across sections, and this can cause general or specific outcry that the method is unfair. And of course, the teacher has to generate a new answer key for each of these by hand, and if there is a time problem, the teacher might make a mistake on the calculations. Therefore, the Examview folks and others have figured a way to reduce the time needed to create entirely different tests using algorithms within the testing instrument. This method works best with word problems that have mathematical solutions, the kind of things we find in math, chemistry, physics, engineering, and so on. Examview will generate a random input number in the question and then calculate the correct answer and perhaps even some wrong answers and put those on the answer key. Either in the print menu or in the main menu, new values can be generated at the teacher's discretion. The generated answers and distractors may be numeric in output or text. So, here's how we do it. When you print the test, you simply click on Calculate New Algorithm Values. Any test set up with algorithms can generate multiple forms with different numbers, even different text answers, depending on the structure of the question. Questions set up algorithmically can be identified by the unique icon that you see to the left of the question, to the left in this case of the answer blank for each question. What's the next step? Well, anyone can, with rudimentary programming ability, set up test questions algorithmically. It will take a few hours of instruction and practice to acquire the skill. It's my intention to make some videos to speed up the process.